Good morning. Budgie. Oh, you want to stay the other way? Alright, well. Going out to the workshop. Get coats of paint on the two pieces, the two sets of trim that's out there. I think I fixed this file so it doesn't, get flat like this anymore. So we're going to run that. And then we're going to see what else we can get done today. You're going to pull on my hair. Okay. I'm doing what I should have done the first time and just testing the file. So instead of cutting out all the intricate detail in between, it's just cutting out the outer perimeter pieces. You'll see in a minute. Which is how I'm supposed to test files, because then it doesn't take as long, and I'm also supposed to test them on, smaller pieces. So I'm not using up an entire big sheet just to find out that I forgot how things are supposed to fit together. There you are. All right, painting. Well, that works better. So yesterday when I cut these, I made sure I had a slit going all the way through and a solid piece all the way through here. So basically it slid all the way. It just kind of sat at the bottom. Obviously that doesn't work, but this seems to work just fine. And I added these little extra braces. That's my hair, Budgie. I actually added these extra braces so that it would have some sort of rigidity, because otherwise this is a little bit flimsy. But I think that works. And I did make it a touch smaller. I like this size better. We'll see if I can fit more on a sheet if it's this size. I might be able to, or I might just be able to fit other things on the sheet. But as you can see, that doesn't work. It's a cute little chain, but that's not what we're trying to create. We're trying to make this. Now that that file has been tested, I can go back inside and basically put these patterns onto the spring. And then I should be able to get a bunch of these ready for Monday. Yeah. All right, those one painted. I might actually be able to get away with this. These are actually looking pretty good. They felt a little bit rough. I mean, this is one that was painted a while ago, so it doesn't need a coat of paint. They felt a little bit rough, but not by much. So I might be able to get away with only 3 coats, which would be very, very nice. Now I'm going to get a coat of paint on these guys and on those. The idea is to get paint drying on everything and then go back inside for a bit. Because this afternoon, or this evening, I'd really like to be able to get out here and get those drawer boxes built. I might actually have to start with a table saw. One, because it'll use up material from the back room that I need gone. And 2, in order to run and do all of the stuff for those drawer boxes, I need to run it through the table saw. And the table saw is not happy right now because the dust is being held. tight to the blade and it has a hard time moving. It's getting to the point where it's having a hard time spinning, so I really should probably deal with that. Okay, well that was successful. File tested. Looks like it's gonna work, and it's gonna be more along the size I was looking for. Trim is painted, other trim is painted, hexagons are painted. Those are gonna need touch-ups. I'm gonna go inside, see if we can get that file set up. And maybe do some wiggling? You want to do some exploring? Yeah? Okay. Alright. Time to go inside and play. You ready to come out of that? When you crawl around the floor? Okay, well, Dan's taking her for a little bit, so I'm gonna go out here, make a whole bunch of noise, fix the files for that new air plant hanger. I've got the designs entered in, one of the 4 designs. But anyways, it's entered in. I'm gonna print those off so that I can start getting some of those listed. And since I don't have her with me, and I'm pretty sure, let's take a look, I'm pretty sure this stuff is going to be fine. I don't need to, this stuff is now fine, so I don't need to paint any more of that. So I put it aside. I really want to work on those, but I'm going to work on that table saw. I'm going to get some of the plywood that is stored in the back room, get it dealt with, make that box, and hopefully my table saw will be happier with me when I'm done. Hopefully that works this time. Should, because it's based off the same template as the one I prototyped this morning. So this is my lovely pile of plywood. Quite a bit of it is earmarked for a few different things, one of which is to fix the table saw. And I will show you why we need to fix the table saw. So this is my lovely table saw. It's just a regular job site one. So it has this movable base which collapses, and that's all well and good. But the fun part about these guys is that normally they are open at the bottom, so they just kind of spew all the sawdust onto the floor. Now I put a board there to contain it, which is great, it contains it, but and then it does this. So as you can see, it's full in there, and that sawdust ends up getting into the crank of the not only raising and lowering the blade, but also moving this to an angle. And recently it's been interfering with the blade actually turning in the first place. If you're planning on doing this, make sure that you put a dust port into the bottom of the board that you put across the bottom of the saw so that it can suck out that dust as well. I didn't do that. Now I have this problem and my saw is starting to hate me for it. So because I don't need a mobile base, because the table saw is basically fixed here, we're going to fold that up. We'll tuck it away somewhere for the off chance that I do want to take this somewhere else and use it. For the most part, I mean, we basically just use it for stuff in here and for stuff for the house, and because the house is so close, it doesn't make sense to drag this to the house and bring the sawdust with it. So what I'm going to do is basically create a cabinet that will allow the dust to fall down Ideally, allow the dust to fall down and have another box inside it that I can pull out so that it will contain everything in there. We are going to get the dust collection hooked up so that the port at the back here, which it's in there somewhere, it will go from there directly into the dust collection in here, which will be great. But the box here, I'm just going to have it separate. It's not going to then vent into the main dust collector over there. It's just going to collect here, and eventually every now and then I'll just take this drawer out and I'll empty it. Because I also have this space over here, I'm going to build the cabinet out this way and back down, because I need a place to store things like my sled, extra push sticks, technically the blades for the saw are over there. Just an overall reorganization of this, so I'll put that trim away. And then the fun part is I need to use a table saw in order to actually make the box for the table saw. So here we go. No, that's not right. Okay, so here's the problem. I still need to be able to put a garbage can right there so that I have my garbage can, which I'm just used to having there, and it allows me to have some place to put the cutoffs from the table saw. But as you can see, it's kind of tucked under the saw a little right now. I have 50 inches at the top to play with, but the garbage can is 10. And originally I was just going to make the box 40, as you saw in the paper. But that means that this table saw gets moved over, and as you see, the extension arm goes all the way over there, and right now it fits before it, it doesn't hit the router bench. But if I move this over so that is fully exposed and not tucked under the saw at all, then I don't have room to fully extend out to that point. Unless, instead of doing that, I need 43 for the top. So basically it would look something like this. So the top is 43, down here is actually 40, hangs over, the bin can be fit under here, and then the rest of the measurements are the same. So this is 30, this is 10, I know it's not even, whatever. Plinth block is 4 inches, total height is 25.5, and the depth is 30. Now the next fun part is none of my material is this dimension. Okay, so down here you can see that there's actually an indent right here that raises up the cabinets. One, because I want to put plywood directly against the concrete and not have the particle board against the concrete. So there is a plywood plinth block all the way along, toe kick, whatever you want to call it. This allows you to raise the cabinet up, but also gives you spot to put your toes. So you can stand closer to the cabinet without having to stand sideways. That's probably a very strange way of explaining this, but I mean, you get the point. So I'm going to do the same thing at my table saw, because obviously I want to be able to stand close to the table saw and not stub my toes every single time. Right now there's nothing there because you can stand in between the braces for the stand, the mobile stand. But I don't want a cabinet that goes straight to the floor because I'll stub my toe every single time. Alright, so these are ripped to 4 inches because that's the height that I have done for all of the plinth blocks around here. And then it needs to be 4 inches in, recessed in from the front of the cabinet. So since the cabinet is going to be 30 inches total, we are going to go with 26 inches of depth of a pledge block. So that means these need to be 26 inches minus the thickness of the front and back boards. If that made sense. Okay, so normally in this step of cabinet making, you simply figure out which pieces you need. You cut them on the table saw, nail screw them together, glue them if you can, depending on the material. But I don't have that luxury, because all the material I have, as said, is not the right dimension, and most of it is in these nice long strips. So there's a lot of glue ups to do. So that's basically what I'm doing now. It's calculating out which pieces I need, what do I need to cut it, which strips I need to cut in order to make this, this piece is not big enough, so what kind of a strip do I need to cut from this piece in order to glue into this piece. And I'm also going to biscuit them together. I don't want to have to wait for the biscuits to dry. I'm going to put strips across as a temporary brace, and then I'll be able to take those braces off afterwards, after they've dried. Because if I leave the braces in place, then they'll interfere with the little box that I want to be able to pull in and out to collect the dust. Okay, so that's the basic idea. This is what happens when you cut your plywood too short. Technically, I didn't cut this too short because this was all random free material that was given to me, so it came this way. I didn't cut it that way. So that's the box sitting on a kick plate. Again, all these extra straps on the top and bottom, those are just to hold the they're just to hold the pieces together while it dries. But now that I've screwed all of these together, I can probably take them off. I still need to screw this part in. It's only screwed at the back. And I had marked a hole where the table saw was going to go, but I'm really glad I didn't cut it out until after I had the box assembled, because I realized I'm pretty sure I've moved this over the wrong way. I think I need to move it that way a little. 3 inches. I think I need to move that way by 3 inches, because otherwise it would just be the 40-inch box with an extra overhang for no reason. And the point of the extra 3 inches overhang was to move the table saw over and be able to have full use of the extension. So yeah, that hole needs to move over. Ta-da! Well, it doesn't look like much, but that will do what I need it to. Now I just need to get it in there. Ta-da! I hadn't actually measured my my table saw sled to see if it would actually fit in that compartment, but it fits perfectly. So now I had to figure out what I'm going to do for storage for the rest of it, because I mean ultimately that's what I was trying to store there, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there later. For now, this works. I've got all sorts of space for the sawdust to drop now. It shouldn't get clogged in the gears. I still, tomorrow, I'm going to call it a day right now, but actually, I'm going to clean up my mess, put another coat of paint or caulking, do another step on that, and then call it a day. But the next step on this tomorrow will be other stripping around the base. I technically cut this a little far for this, but I've got nice thick weather stripping that'll go around this, and now that I don't need to remove this bottom plate because it's just going to fall straight through the bottom, I can put in stuff that I know is not going to get damaged. And then I've got holes here for them all the way around, so I'll put the weather stripping in, I'll screw that down, and before I do that I'll flip it up onto its back and vacuum up the rest of the junk inside. Mind you, most of it seems to have fallen out. But ultimately, I am very happy with this. This is so much cleaner, so much more useful. And stuff isn't just, I mean, kind of, you saw how, while I was taking this apart, it was just kind of junk on top of junk on top of junk. Because I couldn't easily put things away, and anyways. And my little garbage bin still fits, so we're good. All in all, that was a productive day. I still have this stuff that is now very, very much my way, so maybe I can get that installed tomorrow. Maybe that'll be the goal. Get that installed, finish attaching this, and then I can move on to the next batch of dealing with that plywood. I started with this because basically every single one of those pieces of plywood has to go through this table saw at some point in order to become what it is earmarked to become. So I should probably start with fixing the tool that is going to be used to deal with all that. Ultimately, I'm very happy with this. Very dusty, but very happy with this. Alright, I'm going to clean up my mess, call it a day, and I'll see you guys later. Bye!